Welcome. You're watching Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life, with your host, Danny Pabone and Rifle Scudder.
Welcome to another episode of Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life. As always, I'm joined here by my friend Rifle. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Danny. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. Excited to jump into a recap of week two. And I think you agreed with me, Rifle. Probably one of the best Six Nations matches in history. I think you said most. You would agree that probably top three, definitely.
It was a great game, yeah. Um, Obviously, we'll get into it just now. It was good how close it was. The England, especially the
Yeah,
England and France game. France didn't play that well. They threw the game away, but at the end, it was exciting rugby and kept us on our toes the whole game. So it was excellent.
yeah, it was. I was literally on the edge of my seat, like the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes of that game. That's how. I mean, we'll get into it, but I was literally on the edge of my seat, and it was a great ending. So we'll definitely get into that. Another big news that occurred roughly 2 days before the time of this recording is, and it's pretty big in the international rugby, Wales coach Warren Gatland stepping down. So that was pretty big news. Happened a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it is news. It's very sad, I think. Um, I personally don't think it's his fault. I don't think he could have done anything else. If you look at his record, other than winning the World Cup with Wales, he's done everything with that side. I mean, he's won a Grand Slam, won the Six Nations. I mean, he's taken Wales to absolutely every height in rugby that they possibly can go, except winning the Rugby World Cup. And as we said, Wales itself, not Warren Gatland and his coaching, but just Wales, their feeding system, the club system, everything about Welsh rugby right now is in a spiral downwards. And he unfortunately just happened to be caught in the middle of that. So, you win, you do so well, and then all of a sudden you lose one game, two, three in a row, four. People start speaking. I think the weekend was 14 in a row. And rugby, like many other now professional sports, because people pay and they want to see results. If you can't produce results, you got to go. Not his fault, I believe. I don't think he could do anything else. He didn't change as a coach. His skill level didn't go down from a couple of years ago to now. It's what's happening in Wales. But as I say, he's just in the thick of things. So very, very sad to see Gats go, yeah, and wondering what Wales are going to do now that he's not there anymore. But yeah, sad news for the world of rugby, I think.
Yeah, just watching, when the camera would pan to him over the past Six Nations games, you could just tell in his reaction the writing was on the wall, and I, I, I'm not gonna say that I was expecting it, but I was shocked when it happened.
Mm,
So like you
yeah,
said, when you have 14 losses in a row, that's not good in any sport.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a sad thing, but and it's interesting because prior to Ireland dominating the Six Nations over the past few years, uh, Wales won the Six Nations Championship before Ireland got this 3 year streak
correct. Yeah,
going on so far. So
yeah, no, that's what I say. Just a couple of years ago, he was the man. He was doing everything. Welsh rugby was really riding a nice high. But things change so quickly. Unfortunately for him, he's just wrong place, wrong time.
yeah, yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm sure he'll end up somewhere in
Oh,
rugby.
definitely. He's an amazing coach and done so much. He's British and Irish Lions coach before and had success with them. So someone will be very, very happy and lucky and fortunate to be able to pick him up where he would like to go and coach. So He was obviously carrying a lot of weight and a lot of baggage and heaviness on his shoulders because of the Welsh situation now. But hopefully he can get some time off. There's a lot that came out about his daughter that's standing up for him, and rightly so, and writing letters about how he gave everything for the Welsh, and now previous players coming out and saying things. So hopefully he can get away from that for a while and just, spend some time with a family that he's missed so much because of giving his all to Welsh rugby. And hopefully he can go home and spend time with the family and kids and grandkids and that, and just, recuperate a little bit and get some good family time and come back stronger.
Yeah, yeah. And as we say in our introduction to this podcast is not only about rugby; it's about life. And and sometimes, as avid sports fans, we fail to realize that athletes and coaches are human as well. They have families, they have children, they have obligations outside of the sport. And sometimes, and I've been guilty of this being an avid sports fan. Sometimes we really bear down and criticize the athlete or the coach, not knowing that, they may be going through something on outside of sports.
Yeah, forgetting
So,
the
yeah,
human side of things.
yes. And guilty as charged. I've been guilty of that, and then I have to stop myself. Okay, Danny, just this is just a game, and they have the human as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's unfortunate, but like you said, I'm sure he'll bounce back somewhere else. So yeah,
Yep.
okay, everyone. So with that, we're gonna jump right to it. And as you can see here, this is the week two recap here for the Six Nations 2025 Six Nations. And these are the final scores for each of the three matches. And I believe, as I'm not mistaken, Ireland is the first team this year to win away from home. Because all the other matches so far, the home team has won. So,
And at Twickenham, well, and that's another thing, Twickenham, the home of rugby, used to be Twickenham. It's now called, I think, the Lions Stadium, but people still say Twickenham.
mhm,
So obviously, I have my opinion and thoughts on that, but I'll just say Twickenham. They went out and they played at Twickenham there. So it was a no, sorry, Ireland, sorry, no, they played in Scotland. What am I saying? Sorry,
yeah, yeah,
thinking about the France game. Yeah, Ireland played in Scotland, and they went to um, the place where they play. The lone piper plays the bagpipe before the game, and Flower of Scotland. I mean, what a national anthem when you watch that. It's just amazing at Murrayfield. So, yeah, Ireland away from home at Murrayfield, but putting the Scots down. So, yes, excuse me, I made a mistake there. Yeah, but they went
yeah,
to Scotland and beat them there. So, only
yes,
team to win everything and winning well.
yeah, yep. And we're gonna get into each of the matches played this past weekend here, and something to touch upon. And again, we'll get into each match was the passing of Ireland. It's just a thing of beauty to watch. So we'll
Yeah.
definitely get into that when we do a little recap of that game. So the first matchup of the weekend was Italy and Wales, and just a little recap of the game here. And you've mentioned this quite a few times, Rifle. It's not how you start; it's how you finish, and that holds true for, you could say, for every sport, especially in rugby, it being such a physical sport. And Wales came out and they were looking good for the first, I would say, 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and they were really put uh, uh, attacking See, I like to say attack because I'm so used to the American culture. But please remind me, attacking play is the right verbiage in
Mm.
rugby, correct?
Yeah, they did very well. And I think specifically with that game, Italy Wales, they played for the wooden spoon, and obviously Wales not wanting to lose, another one making 13 in a row now become 14. So I mean, Italy don't want to be lost. They want to prove that they've been there for quite a couple of years now. They're getting better. Their rugby's improving. So I mean, it was really not the final to see who would win the competition, but both teams, going out. I'm sure the players wanted to play for Gats as well, and just he's under so much pressure. All of them are. So it was just two teams going at it. And as we said there, Wales came out looking pretty good. And for a moment there, we thought, maybe they can pull it through. Maybe they can do it. Almost scored in the beginning, but, it just wasn't, didn't happen. And then they, at the end of the game, couldn't, they got close. Italy made some silly mistakes at the end of the game that brought Wales back. And, the last 2 minutes, I think, or minute and a half, if they could score again, they could have tied the game, So it was very, very close, those last 90 seconds of the game. But Italy in the end, just silly mistakes, penalty try, yellow card, all of that, and then giving Wales the opportunity if they really came back in the last 90 seconds to tie up the game. So thrilling, but, playing not to get the wooden spoon, that's not a position you want to find yourself in. But unfortunately for Wales, it's pretty evident now that their rugby is just not the same class of the other teams in the competition or tier one rugby nations currently at this stage.
Yeah, yeah. It was like we had mentioned in our previous episode. A lot of fans were watching this game not to see who will win, but to see who will not lose.
Yeah.
And because you have mentioned the wooden spoon, which is essentially the team that, depending on who you ask, for rifle, that means losing all your games. Um, Other people, in the context of 6 Nations, if you it's the team that uh, comes out in sixth place at the end of the tournament, which essentially is most likely you lost all the games.
Yep. Yeah.
so
You're the loser.
yeah, so the two things that I just wanted to highlight in this game was there was a lot of kicking in this game. At times, it felt like I was watching a soccer game, and I just wanted you to touch briefly upon rifle. What in a broad sense, obviously, because there's a few reasons why teams choose to kick the ball. But in a broad sense, what the strategy is behind a rugby player kicking the ball uh, to the other team in the middle of a game.
There could be so many reasons. Just quickly, the weather could definitely have something to
Yeah.
do with it. So if it's wet and the field is slippery, it's very difficult to play a good running game.
Mm-hmm.
So what you most of the time would try and do then is to prevent your team, yourself, from knocking the ball on or slipping down. So, you go to the ground and other team can come and get the ball. So you'll kick a lot in a game where conditions are not good. So that's one reason. Just weather would have a lot to do with it in a
Yeah.
game where people kick a lot. Other thing could be is you could, find a weakness in your opposition. Maybe the fullback or the two wings are maybe new or they're not good under a high ball. So you will kick and try and put them under pressure. And then as soon as you kick, your players go up and try and scare them or tackle them, or, as soon as they see the ball's coming down with a player coming at the same time, sometimes they get scared or nervous and then they drop the ball. So if you have an unexperienced player or someone who's not good at catching those high balls, you'll kick to them a lot as well. That could be another reason. So there are different reasons for doing it. Another thing is just if you just, for example, you want to lie back and have that team come to you and make them make the mistakes. So rather than you taking a chance of you slipping up and doing something wrong, you're just going to kick it to them. If your defense is good, you're just going to have that line of defense that goes up, and you're going to force them to play all the rugby. And when they play with the ball and pass, and they're going to have to make a mistake. That's what you're hoping, so that you can just get the scrum or the line out. So, there are many different reasons why one would kick in a game. But there was a lot of kicking definitely in this game. And in rugby, we also say, the one team is just trying to feel the other team, what they're going to do. So instead of running it yourself, you want to see, are they going to attack all the time? Do they have something up their sleeve that we don't know about? So just give them the ball. You just stand back and wait to see what they're going to do. And, that could be another reason. So there are 3 or 4 reasons why a team would kick.
Yeah, and it kind of felt like the fact that Wales has been, and then this is just from my perspective. I'm not an expert. I'm not like a professional commentator or broadcaster, but from just looking at it and being that Wales has struggled over the past year or so to win games, it seems like kicking allows for them to hope that Italy made a mistake and have them closer to the try line.
Yep.
And I think in this game, that's where the kicking aspect falls under. Yeah, so it was interesting to see a lot of kicks and, like, jokingly me saying that I felt like I was watching a soccer game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's a good
so
tactic every now and then, but sometimes, as you say, when you're just not doing well and you just don't have faith that your back line can really get the ball and run through the other team and make plays, it's just maybe the safer thing for you to just kick to the other team and hope that somehow, somewhere, they just make a mistake.
yeah, yeah. And as Rifle alluded to just a couple of minutes ago, Italy making just dumb mistakes and silly penalties. Um, this game ended. Well, there was about 2 minutes left in the game, but this game pretty much ended in a penalty try for Wales. And I just highlighted here. I know we had mentioned what a maul is in rugby, and it just so happens that this penalty try was awarded because of the maul. And what we see here, and then this is the last penalty that Italy, the official, awarded to Wales. Um, this was the third penalty, and this is what pretty much why the official awarded a penalty try to Wales. And what we see here, as we had mentioned before, in a maul, one of the rules is you have to be, if you come into the maul, you have to be binded to your teammate, and you cannot leave your feet. In other words, you can't jump, try to, tackle somebody, or leave your feet and try to attack the maul. You have to be on your feet and bind it to a player. So, 2 previous mauls, that one of the Italian players either collapsed the maul or they left their feet to join the maul. So those were 2 penalties right there. The referee warned the Italian players, discipline, and you can actually hear it in the game. Practice discipline. You need to be more disciplined. He literally, that's what he told the Italian captain. Called him over. You need to be more disciplined. Don't leave your feet. Be more disciplined. So he pretty much gave them a warning. And then what we see here is, and please forgive me, I don't know the name of the player. I know he's number 19 because that's what the referee said number 19. So if you can see here with my green highlighted pointer here, this is number 19 of the Italian side. So as you can see, everybody here is, well, you can't see it here, but this is what happened was he was bind to these two players here. Then he broke the bind, went to the side of the mall, went to the side of the mall, and that's what caused the mall to collapse. Therefore, a penalty was awarded to a penalty try because this was the third penalty by the Italians in I think it was about 4 or 5 minutes of gameplay, and the referee says that's it. I've seen enough, and a penalty try was awarded to Wales. So, like you said, rightful silly mistakes at the end of the game.
Yes.
So yeah, those are the two things I wanted. The kicking and this penalty try awarded to Wales is pretty much what I wanted to highlight in this game. Now, match number two was a great match. This was the match that had me sitting at the edge of my seat for like the last 20 to 30 minutes of gameplay. It was very interesting. And just to show you, I'm not going to read all of this, but I just want to show this on camera and hopefully it takes it. These are my notes here. As you can
There you
see,
go.
all my notes for this game. So there was a lot of action in this game. Obviously, I didn't want to write all of this on this slide because it will be too much. But yeah, this was an amazing game that um, France, and as you can see here, everybody is essentially in the first half. France had four attacking players that had reached past the England's 22-meter line, and all four of them ended in handling errors. So for you who are used um, to football, essentially four fumbles of the ball, and three of the fumbles of the ball, three of them had no English defender within 5 meters of the French player. So the French player could have easily scored if they had not fumbled the ball. And on top of that, you had a missed penalty kick by France. That was a fairly easy kick. It wasn't really a hard kick. It was a fairly easy kick. So bare minimum, you could have had, given that English finished pretty strong in the first half, bare minimum, you could have had a score of 24-7 at half. Bare minimum. But that wasn't the case. The half finished at 7-7. So yeah, that was an interesting first half, needless to say. And then in the second half, wow, it was a totally different game. I mean, it was totally different game. So in the first 20 minutes, we had both teams traded scores. France had two penalty kicks, and England had one try. And then the last 20 minutes, you had two tries scored by each team. And I believe I have my notes here. Um, England scored their final try at the 79th minute of the game. So you had 1 minute left to pretty much, I think there was like 30 seconds of extended play. There was only about 35 seconds of extended play. So essentially, England scored a try with 1 minute left in the game. So, wow. So I'm just interested to hear your thoughts on this game, Rifle. It was a crazy game in the second half.
It definitely was, yeah. I'm going to have to explain myself here by what I'm going to say, and please hear me out here. I think that France lost the game more than England won the game. So at the end of the game, England won, but I think France threw the game away. They lost
Mm,
it. But having said that, for the last how many games now, even in the autumn series last year at the end of the year, England also, they hang in there, and for the first 60 minutes they're playing well. 65 minutes they're winning, and then they just can't finish the game off. And in this game, at 60 minutes, I believe it was, or 65, France came and they scored a try. And then England could have gone into their heads and said, here we go again. This always happens to us, but they didn't. And many, many times people say that South Africa is lucky the way that we win, because we win, like in the World Cup, the last three games, we won by 1 point. And people say we're lucky. There's a lot to that. It may be so. But one thing about even you being lucky is you didn't give up.
yeah,
You stayed in the game till the end. So luck has one part of the game to do with it. But the fact that you gave everything till the final whistle blew is on you. And England here could have given up, and they could have said, oh, look what's happening here. Here they come and they score in the 60th minute, but they didn't. They went back. And then 7 minutes before the end, France come and they're playing well and they score. And now you can say, oh, it's over. We done for. But England didn't do that. They fought till the end. And as you just said, they scored their last try with a couple of seconds on the clock left. So were they lucky? Did they deserve it? At the end of the day, England won. They hung in there. They didn't give up. Half time, 7-all. I was thinking, man, France, they've lost 4 tries to knock-ons and handling errors. So when they come out the second half, I'm sure Gautier, their coach, would have said, listen, you better, stick something up your ears and start playing proper game of rugby. So I was thinking they were going to come out second half, but England hung in there. So even though I think that France lost the game rather than England won it, hats off to England. Hats off to Steve Bortwick. They didn't give up. They didn't go and cry when things started falling apart, when things didn't look good. They stayed in the game and they fought literally till the very last minute. And that is wonderful, and good job, England. Well done. You won at Twickenham against France. I said that France should win this tournament because you talk about Ireland and their passing and all of that. France is the same. These two teams are just two well-oiled machines. And if you look at the club rugby, Toulouse, France's clubs, oh my goodness, if you watch them, they just don't do anything wrong. They're just so good. However, in this game, they were absolutely shocking. From missing passes, Dupont, the best player, he's knocking on, missing penalty kicks. I mean, it's a comedy of errors on the highest playing field, that you possibly can do in the Six Nations. And they go and they throw 4 tries away. So France just shocking on the day, but England stayed in it till the end. So well done, England.
there, folks. That coming from Rifle is a huge thing. Saying well done, England.
They hung in there
I,
till
I
the end, and that's
I
great.
know it takes all your energy to say something like that, Rifle.
No, they
So
deserve it. They did well. They deserve it.
so yeah, I agree. This could, like I said, this could have easily been over at half if France would have played more. What's the word I'm looking for? Uh, if France would have played their game, uh, this could have been a tough task for England in the second half. But that's not the case. That wasn't the case. And to be honest with you, France. The other thing I wanted to, and I'm just looking at my notes here, because like I said, I wrote everything single play. It was so much action in this game. I had like a whole full page of notes. So France third and final try. I think they had three tries in this game. So the final try that they scored, everyone, if you ever get to catch the replay of this game, it was insane because you can even hear the commentator say that France scored on a mistake by their, I forget what player had the ball. Um, so essentially, this ball, by the grace of God, bounced like 10 times. And every time it bounced back. It didn't bounce forward because obviously, if you lose the ball and it bounce forward, even though you did not, intentionally do it, it's still a knock on. If you drop the ball, it bounced forward, even though you didn't intentionally push the ball forward, it's still considered a knock on. So this ball bounced. I don't know what the number is, but it had to be at least 8 to 10 times. And every single time it bounced back. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And from this, France scored their final try of the game at about the 75th minute. So once France scored that thing with that play, I was like, okay, it's over. France won this game. And obviously, as we mentioned, 4 minutes later, uh, England scores a try to win the game. And it was just an amazing game. Those last 20 to 30 minutes of the game was just wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I think it was a big test for Bortwick, the coach, and Itoje, the captain. You got a new captain. Um, Coach is not new, but he changed fly halves. He took the regular fly half, Marcus Smith, put him at fullback, brought someone that's playing the first game, I believe, starting at fly half. So, I was a little concerned about that for England's sake. If you take your playmaker, your number 10, and you move him to fullback, take Freddie Stewart out, who's good under the high ball, how is that going to work? And then they moved the back row, the flankers. They took Tom Curry, they moved him, they brought Ben Earl to the side. So they changed quite a bit of the team and the structure and the way of attack that they were going to play. And as I say, at the end of the day, they stuck it out till the end and it worked for them. My question now is, because people are saying, okay, England has broken that boogeyman. They've won. They've come against France, one of the best in the world, and they won. So that boogeyman must be off their shoulders now because they have played in so many games now, right until 60, 70 minutes winning and then go and lose the game. Now, next game, they've done it now. They've beat France now. It's all going to be good. And my one concern is now, does that put more pressure on you? Because now England expect, your fans expect you to win because you've proven now that you can win. So now you've got no excuse, go out and do it again. Or is it, oh my goodness, we won, but it was just also, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle this win and what's going to come in their next couple of games. And obviously we know that this week, as we are talking now, this weekend they have a bye week, so they're not playing. But when they do play again, how they're gonna play? Are they gonna pick the same positions that they did, or are they going to change back? So it's very interesting to watch. But England won, and good job for them. Yeah, they did well.
Yep. And well, let's see who France's next opponent is. I'm suspecting I feel sorry for them because I'm sure France's gonna coach and team is gonna be watching this game and say, okay, we need to button up our play and we're gonna be ready for the next game. So I think it's Italy, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, well, we're gonna go over the next game, which, like you said, is in 2 weeks because they have a bye this week. So
Yeah.
whoever is France's next opponent, God bless you. I hope you do well because they're gonna come out really. I think you know
Firing on all
trying to
cylinders.
yes, and if that's the case, whew, watch out. So the final game of or final match of week two of the Six Nations series championship was Ireland and Scotland. And actually did not know this until you told me this, that Scotland hasn't beaten Ireland. It's been 8 years since Scotland has beat Ireland. Wow,
Very long time, yeah. I think 2017.
wow, that's a long losing streak to a team.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, so Ireland was pretty much in command throughout this game, and it's unfortunate because as you see here, everyone, um, uh, pretty early in the game, you had Finn Russell, who's I don't know, is he considered probably the best player on Scotland, or
Yeah,
one
he's
of the
definitely
best?
he's a playmaker. Yeah, he's fly half. He's the one that decides how they're going to play and what they're going to do. So he's their playmaker for sure.
Okay, and a little friendly fire runs into his teammate Darcy Graham, um, and unfortunately, both were taken out of the game at this point because of that collision. So pretty much Scotland was down two of the starters pretty early in the game, and like I had mentioned at the beginning of the episode, Ireland's passing is a thing of beauty to watch because it's so crisp, it's so fast, it's so precise that when you have um, Gibson Park, who is the scrum half for Ireland, uh, when he takes the ball out of the ruck or out of the scrum, whatever the play may be, when he passes that bar, it just zips through the air. It's just amazing. I can't believe how fast that ball goes and how accurate he is. And the other, teammates, other players of Ireland as well, because you have Pendergast is
Fly
the
half.
fly half for Ireland,
Yeah.
young kid, 21 years old. Um, when he passes the ball, same thing. It just zips through the air. And actually, one of the scoring tries in this game was a setup from the ruck in which Gibson Park passes it to Pendergast. Pendergast, seeing a teammate all by himself, passes it to him. I forget the name of the player that actually scored, and this literally happened within a second. That's how quick it was. It was like, foop, foop, try scored like in second and a half. I was like, I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. I literally missed the play because it was so quick.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's an amazing thing to watch the passing of Ireland and how quick they move the ball. And when you have such great passing like that, it's very hard to defend because you could actually switch, switch side of the field so quickly that it's hard for defenders, if they're on one side, it's hard for them to run to the other side to defend the other side. So it was a thing of beauty to watch.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult for Scotland. I mean, you're so closer to Celtic neighbours there, and if you haven't beaten Ireland since 2017, you really, really every game you play now is a must-win. It's almost like Wales. We lose one, we lose two, we lose three, and it's just mounting and becoming bigger and bigger. So the pressure on Scotland when they run on the field and they played at home, just to beat Ireland, they've got to go out and make something happen. And then when things don't go your way, and we could see there in the beginning, that the Irish are just such a well-oiled machine. They just play cool, calm, collective. They wait for the mistakes to happen. They wait for the gaps to open. They don't force anything. And in doing that, Scotland makes the mistakes. And there, Duan got a yellow card, so the Irish just get under their skin and then they make silly mistakes, yellow cards off. Then you have the unfortunate situation with Finn and Darcy going off. So it was just, Scotland once again on the day, just not good enough and just couldn't do it. So, yeah, Ireland at this stage, it, it's theirs to lose, the Six Nation.
Yeah.
They're going for the three-peat. They've last 2 years they've done it, so they're trying to do it three in a row. And if they lose it now, it's just their own fault because they're looking so good. They've won everything, bonus points. They're doing everything right. So they so far ahead now. It will be theirs to lose.
Yeah, it truly will. And it falls into that category of um, in our first episode of this series, we had mentioned that it's quite possible, before the last week to know who the winner of the championship, Six Nations is going to be.
Correct.
And so far, you know, if Ireland wins their next game, I mean, like you say, it's gonna be very hard to catch up to them,
Yeah.
if not
They're looking
impossible.
very good. Yeah.
So yeah, and not the next game, but week 4 is gonna be a matchup between Ireland and France. So that's definitely a game I'm sure everybody is gonna be tuning in
Most
to
definitely. I
watch.
think so. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, definitely. So the final here was 32 to 18. Again, Scotland didn't put too much of a fight up against Ireland in this
No.
game. And, you know, who knows if Finn Russell and the two players don't go out? Who knows what the score would have been at the end? But, you know, that's life, that's sports.
Things
People
happen.
get hurt.
Yeah.
And the mantra in sports is if you get hurt, next man up.
Yeah. There you
So
go.
yeah, you have to produce.
Yeah.
So yeah, so again, the next matches are not this weekend from the time of this recording. They have all the teams have a bye this weekend. So February 22nd, which is a Saturday, we have Wales and Ireland. Sorry, Wales. Looks like another game you're going to lose. We have England and Scotland, and we have France and Italy. Again, Italy, God bless you. Um, you're going to have a France that's very mad at their last loss. So uh,
Definitely.
I don't know. It, that game may surprise us and it'd be close, or it's going to be a slaughter where France just runs all over Italy. So should be interesting to watch.
Yeah. So this weekend we'll have to watch replays and reruns
Yeah.
and wait for the week after that. But no rugby, unfortunately, this weekend in
Yes.
the
No.
Six Nations. Yeah, there is
No
club
Six
rugby, but no
Nations.
Six Nations.
That means this weekend I can actually go out and spend time with family and friends.
For a change.
So yeah. So that's the schedule again. Uh, for the next round of matches for the Six Nations 2025 Six Nations. And yeah, Rifle, it's been very interesting again to watch my first Six Nations live. It's been a good one, and
Yeah, you've got some of the very best games. That's wonderful to start your rugby journey with a competition like this with such good rugby.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool to watch and just to learn the game and just watch, you know, especially that France England game. Who, by the way, the many of the commentators and just watching commentators and podcasts uh, throughout this week on that game. Uh, Most of them say that that's probably one of the best matches in Six Nation history. So it
Mm.
was a good one.
Yeah, it was a thriller.
Yeah. And then this year also, not to get ahead of ourselves, but this year we have the British and Irish Lions Tour. Then we have the Rugby Championships, which is the a tournament between four of the southern teams. So yeah, looking forward to a lot of rugby this year, as always, with the added benefit of the British Alliance tour. So yeah, looking forward to this year, watching all these tournaments and games and continuing to learn the game of rugby. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
a lot
pretty
of
cool.
good rugby to come. So we're in a good position.
Yes, we are. So with that, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this recap of week 2 of the 2025 Six Nations uh, Championship Series, and tune in to our next episode. So I hope you enjoyed it. Rifle, thank you again, my friend.
Very welcome. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time. Cheers, eh?
So with that, take care, everybody. Thank you for watching this episode of Rugby with Rifle. Remember to press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet to support this podcast.